Hi, it's Ray Edwards, and welcome to my first video on my personal YouTube channel. So, a little explanation about why I'm even doing this. I was in a mastermind group meeting recently, and one of my friends, Pat Flynn, made the comment, Ray, you're pretty good at doing video. I don't know why you don't do more video. You should do more video. So I thought, Pat Flynn is a smart guy. Who am I to argue with him? I mean, he has the Smart Passive Income podcast, for crying out loud. So I decided to try this experiment. I'm going to put some videos on my YouTube channel and see if you like them, see if they're useful. And if they are, I'll keep doing them. And if they are not, then I'll just quietly take them down and never mention it again. So how do we start? I thought I would start by talking about why is this such an exciting time to have an online business, to start an online business if you don't have one? Because the theme of my site and of my podcast is I help people start, run, and grow internet-based businesses. Now, we help other businesses as well because I started out, remember, as a marketer and a copywriter, so we can help virtually any business, but I really specialize in helping people start their own business, to run that business and to grow it online specifically. And why is this the time to do it? Because I believe we're at the time of revolution in the world. I think I could probably overstate this, and you might think I was being hyperbolic, but I don't think it's possible for me to give enough hyperbole to this. I believe we're at a point in history that is more significant, or at least as significant, as when Gutenberg invented the printing press. Why? Well, I'm going to explain. There are 5 barriers that I believe we have broken through that have never been breachable by the majority of the population of the world before, and now virtually anybody in the world can break through all 5 of these barriers and start a business from anywhere. And so what are the barriers? Number 1, technological. You know, we take the internet for granted, and YouTube and Facebook Live and Periscope and Snapchat and whatever the thing of the week is when you are viewing this video. Well, we shouldn't take them for granted because they're miraculous. I mean, think about it. I talked about Gutenberg and the printing press. That was a turning point in history because we could print and reproduce books on a mass scale. But very few people had a printing press. Now, anybody with a phone in their pocket can have their own printing press, as it were. They can put up their own website. I mean, you can do it for free, or you can use a service like Squarespace or Bluehost and have a site up for $10, and you're started. Technologically, you've jumped that hurdle. It used to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build an online presence. Now you can do it for free or for $10 or certainly for $100 or less. It's amazing. That's an amazing technological barrier we've broken through. So that barrier is no longer a problem for you starting, running, and growing your online business. The second barrier is the barrier of capital. And I just alluded to that. I said for $100 or less, you could get started. In fact, a friend of mine, we're friends online. We've never actually met in person. I just realized I was saying this. So I called him my friend, Chris Guillebeau. We've chatted online. We've exchanged emails. He sends me a copy of his new book every time he publishes a book. But he put a book out not long ago called The $100 Startup. It's a fantastic book. You should check it out if you haven't read it already. But his premise is anybody, based on their knowledge, their wisdom, their experience, can start a business for $100 or less. You can have a startup for $100 or less. It used to be that you had to invest enormous amounts of capital or have enormous amounts of capital to start a business. And we all know the stories of startups in Silicon Valley where they raise millions of dollars before they make a single dollar in profit. You don't have to do that. You can invest less than $100 and be making thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit just from that tiny, tiny little investment. That is, for some people, it's as much as they would spend on a nice dinner on a weekend or on Starbucks in a month. So there's no big capital requirement and certainly no huge capital risk required. That's the second barrier, is capital. No longer a problem. The third barrier that has been broken is the barrier of location. It used to be that if you wanted to have a super successful business, you had to be in New York or Chicago or Tokyo or London or you name the big city of choice. You had to be in these big business centers in Hong Kong, but no more. Now you can be located in nowhere, USA, or nowhere, India, or in some obscure town in Europe that nobody's ever heard of, and you can start a multi-million-dollar business from that obscure place. I mean, in the US, it doesn't get much more obscure than where I live in Spokane, Washington. I mean, I love this place. So if you're in Spokane, don't be insulted by what I just said, but most people don't know where Spokane is. And I've got friends who have multi-million-dollar businesses and operate in towns that nobody's ever heard of. And that is because technology, the internet, has made location no longer an issue. You don't have to relocate or be in a big city to have a big business. You can choose the lifestyle and the expense of that lifestyle you want to live, and it doesn't have to affect the success of your business. The fourth barrier that has been broken down is the barrier of distribution. And this is a huge one. This used to be the big deal because you could have a great book, but you had to get a publishing house to get behind it, and you had to be picked by them. And as Seth Godin says, now you get to pick yourself. You get to choose yourself. Or maybe you had a great idea or invention, but you had to get some big company to buy the idea or license it or to pick your invention and invest in it. Now you can choose to be yourself the distributor of your product because you can distribute globally online. My company is called Ray Edwards International Incorporated. That's because before I incorporated, I was a sole proprietorship. And I realized one day when I was trying to figure out, well, what will we name the corporation when we incorporate? And I looked at my list of customers and I realized, wow, I've got customers in Japan, in England, in Canada, in Mexico, in Singapore, in Australia. I truly have an international business. And that just kind of blew me away. So you've got global distribution at your fingertips and you don't have to ask anybody's permission. You can be globally distributed just by choosing to. It's up to you. It's no longer a barrier. And finally, the fifth barrier that has been broken down that allows you to have an online business is the barrier of commerce or payment. You know, when I started in this business, even in 2006, it was very difficult to get a merchant account that allowed you to take online payments. In fact, there were people who sold courses, who sold products that taught you how to take online payments because it was a big hassle. It was a big deal. At one point, you had to pay like a couple $1,000s and make a credit application and go through this big background check exercise, and you might or might not get a merchant account that would allow you to take payments online. Now, anybody can take payments online. You can use Stripe or Braintree or SquareUp or PayPal or any of a myriad of other services, and you can instantly be set up to take payments from anywhere in the world, and the money gets deposited instantly into your bank account. So those are 5 barriers that used to stop you and me, the little guy, from starting a business and making it into a big business. And now those barriers no longer exist. They're obliterated. They've been broken down. So the 5 barriers that no longer stand in your way for starting your business are, number 1, technology, number 2, capital, number 3, location, number 4, distribution, and number 5, payment. Think about the world we live in. It's amazing. It's astonishing. And as we go forward in these videos, I've got plans over the next few videos to talk about some things that will maybe give you a new way of thinking about how to start, run, and grow your online business. Until then, if you're watching this video anywhere except rayedwards.com, then go over to rayedwards.com, that's my blog, and subscribe to my email newsletter so that I can notify you when I put out a new video or a new podcast or a new free resource that will help you start, run, and grow your online business. And leave a comment or give a share or a thumbs up or a like. And until we meet again, until our paths cross again next week, I pray that God will bless you and your business. And I encourage you to go out there and prosper with purpose.